Hey there, I'm professional psychic Karen Marie, and this is Psyched-Up Sundays for April 16th, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, I'll be talking about the transits for the week ahead. That's like the astrological weather forecast, so you know what's going on. We'll go over each day for the upcoming week. I want to call out your attention to my daily 1-minute videos, which I call my Psyched-Up Date videos. I look at the transits for the day, talk about the most important ones, draw a tarot card, channel all of that, and keep it all underneath 1 minute. And so I post those here on this channel. I post it on my Facebook pages, both my personal and my professional, my Instagram page, and TikTok. So if you're on those social platforms more often, make sure you check those out wherever you view my videos. Please like them, share them with your friends, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and please share this with your friends as well, and I would be most grateful for that. So we have a potent, powerful week ahead because we have a solar eclipse new moon in Aries at the very last degree of Aries, and eclipses are portal points. They're places where we transform our lives, and it's like the Star Trek where they would go into warp speed and like leapfrog over space. That's what can happen with an eclipse. We can just leapfrog to another dimension. We can have these portals open up in our lives. People come into our lives around eclipses. People exit our lives around eclipses. And this eclipse is probably the most important, powerful one in this decade because it's squaring Pluto. And Pluto doesn't play. It is about death and transformation, power and control. Pluto is about the deep, dark waters of our psyche. It's about revealing the truth. Pluto is Lord of the underworld. It's the ruler of Scorpio. So it's about plunging deeply within ourselves and transforming ourselves from the deep core out for all time. It's about karmic patterns being transformed. It's about soul contracts. People coming into our lives where we've got a soul contract. That's Pluto's energy as well. So Pluto squaring this eclipse is super potent and powerful. Pluto moved into Aquarius March 23rd. So it's in a whole new sign. All of us alive on this planet have not experienced Pluto being in Aquarius in our lifetimes because Pluto has a 250-year orbit cycle around the whole zodiac wheel. So unless you remember your past lives in the late 1700s, this will be new for everyone. Capricorn, where it's been since 2008, represents the old, how things have always been done on this planet. The good old boys network, the status quo. This is how we do things. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the great awakener. It's about doing things outside the box. It's about the new, the innovative. It's two wavy lines, so it's humanity vibing together. So Pluto entering Aquarius kicked off the age of Aquarius that we've been singing, right, that song since the 70s. But now it's finally here. And the ages go backwards in time. So we're leaving the age of Pisces. And before that's the last 2,000 years have been the age of Pisces. The 2,000 years before that was the age of Aries. Before that, Taurus, and et cetera, et cetera. So we've entered this age of Pisces. So Pluto will go back and forth between Aquarius and Capricorn. It goes retrograde in May, and it goes back into Capricorn in June, where it'll be through the rest of the year. It goes direct again. And in January of 2024, it moves back into Aquarius. It moves a little bit further into Aquarius, but it will turn and go retrograde again. And then finally goes back into Aquarius to stay mid-November of 2024. Then it'll be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So right now, it's squaring the nodes of fate, the North Node and the South Node. And eclipses always happen close to one or the other of the nodes. So the nodes are at 4 degrees of Taurus and 4 degrees of Scorpio. They're always opposite each other. They've been traveling through these signs since January of last year, 2022, is when they moved into Taurus for the North Node, Scorpio for the South Node. In July, they'll move into Aries and Libra. So we're wrapping up the lessons of the North Node moving through Taurus. And so right now, with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius, it's in a square with both the nodes. And this eclipse will happen at 29 degrees and 50 minutes of Aries, like 10 minutes before the very end of the sign of Aries. So it's particularly potent and powerful because of this square to Pluto, because Pluto does not play. It leaves things changed. Anything that interacts with Pluto will be transformed. So the North Node is about what we're learning, what our soul needs to learn collectively. The North Node in your birth chart is what your soul came in to learn personally. The South Node is what you came in to release, clear out, let go of. The transiting nodes are for everybody collectively on the planet, what we're all supposed to be in class learning, and what we're all supposed to be letting go of, clearing out in our lives, right? So with Scorpio, it is clearing out deep psychological baggage, past life karma. The North Node's about our values, valuing ourselves more, being around people who value us. It's also been about our valuables. Taurus is the second house in the astrological wheel. So it's the house of how we feed ourselves, how we clothe ourselves, how we make our money, how we store our money. So it's ruled by Venus, which rules relationships and money and finance. That are the two primary areas that Taurus rules. And as the North Node has been moving through Taurus, we've been asked to value ourselves more, take better care of our physical body, maybe change up our exercise routine, what we've been eating, drinking, all that. If you've been listening to your own intuition, you probably have been making changes in these areas of your life, your finances, your relationships, right? And so there'll be different themes as the North Node moves into Aries and Libra, and I'll talk about that as it gets closer to that. But Pluto will be squaring the nodes of fate. Anything within 10 degrees is considered conjunct or in a square, if it's in an aspect, whether it's a square or a sextile or whatever. The closer in degree it is, the more potent and powerful you feel it. So the nodes are at 4, Pluto's at 0, so they're within 4 degrees of each other in a square right now. So that's still a square. They'll be exact in July, but they'll be squaring the nodes between now and November. So this is like very, very intensive times just as a backdrop. So we're being asked to really listen to our soul and what our own inner guidance is guiding us to do. I believe everyone is psychic. We're all wired with intuitive abilities that show up differently for everyone. Your abilities can be enhanced and developed however they show up latently. For some of us, the volume is just turned up really loud. Other people's volume is turned down and off. Everybody can get more in touch. Turn up the volume of how your abilities show up for you. Your intuition, your psychic abilities are the connection to your soul, your higher self. It's not coming from your mind or your ego. The vibration of inner guidance is a really lovely flow where the vibration of our brain and what we know, what we should do, is a different vibration coming from the mind. You can stop and just tune in and tell the difference. The best way to develop your psychic abilities is to spend time every day doing spiritual practices, whether that's prayer, meditation, chanting, breath work, walking in the woods, staring into a campfire, doing music or art or anything that puts you in a place where you can connect with your higher self, right? Your intuition is the voice of your higher self. When you listen to your intuition and follow its directions and promptings on a daily basis, you're on the best path for your life, right? I recommend that everyone start off the day, if possible, spending 30 minutes connecting with your higher self, getting out of your ego, getting out of your mind, getting out of your emotional body, and connecting with the divine within yourself. Then you can hear your intuition and listen to the promptings. When you're overdriving yourself with what you need to do, what you should do, what other people want you to do, what you've committed to, all that can just pull you out of whack. Especially if you haven't been in alignment when you've set those intentions and made those agreements. So if you can spend 30 minutes every morning, you're going to feel this rhythm and a flow going to your life, no matter what's going down astrologically or what's going down around you in your life, right? I heard a Joe Dispenza quote recently where he was talking about that he recommends that everybody practice 30 minutes of spiritual practices every day, and except for those that don't have enough time, and then they should do an hour. And you can tell a difference in your life when you do spiritual practice. There's a beautiful flow. There's synchronicity. There's confirmation that comes back from the universe. Whereas if you're powering it through from your ego, your brain, your mind, you can hit the brick walls, the red lights, the choppy waters, the potholes. Like, you can feel like, how's your life? If there's a flow going to your life, then you're listening to your intuition. If there's not, you're probably not. So for everybody, you can tap into that and develop your ability. So just throwing that out there as important intel. Okay. South Node, clearing, letting go of karma. That also can be intensive with the square because it can be bringing situations up that you're supposed to let go of. Habits, behaviors, people in your life that are on the way out. So this time period from now till the end of this year is really about cutting the karma, clearing it out. This eclipse at the last degree of Aries is super potent and powerful. This is at the anaretic degree. Any planet or point at 29 degrees of any of the signs is considered the anaretic degree point, or the testing degree. It's where you take the final exam of that sign. And what is Aries? Aries is the baby of the zodiac. It's got, every sign has positives and negatives. Every planet has positive and negatives. So the positives of Aries are like pioneering spirit, being able to initiate things, having lots of passion for life, being a big old bonfire. Some of the downsides of Aries are impulsivity, going into things without thinking or acting, rash behavior, unresolved anger stuff can come out with Aries energy. So this degree point where the eclipse is going to be happening, the exact time it's happening here in Austin, Texas, and you make your changes for wherever you are on the planet, Wednesday, April 19th at 11:12 p.m. is when the new moon and the sun come together. Right? New moons are always new beginning points, times to set new intentions. So this is the second new moon that we're having in Aries. Last month we had a new moon at 0 degrees of Aries. So now we're having one at the end. So this is also very powerful as well. And it's initiating. It's a cardinal sign. So it's about initiating new things in your life. To make it even more magnified, if squaring Pluto wasn't enough, Jupiter is in Aries. It'll be at 23 degrees at this eclipse, which is a few degrees off this, right? Within 10. So it is making the eclipse even bigger. So this is going to be potent and powerful. You may not even feel it on that day. You may very well feel it on that day. But it's like setting something in motion, and the waves continue on. Usually eclipses you feel for a good 6 months afterwards, because this one is so potent. We could be feeling this one for years to come. So sometimes we plant the seed with the eclipse, the new moon, and the effect doesn't come around maybe till 6 months later, whatever. So be clear about what you want to transform, initiate, start up, dramatically change in your life, and bring that intention into this eclipse this week to like offer it up for what you want to bring into your life, what you want to start, what you want to have the passion around. So this degree point, 29 degrees, is where Mars, the ruler of Aries, was in the skies when January 6th of 2021 happened. So I'm expecting something connected to January 6th events to come up around this eclipse. So what? I don't know. But since it's at the same exact point in the sky where Mars was, to me, there's like some huge opening. So we'll have to wait and see. And again, it may not happen on Wednesday. It may happen within this next 6 months that there's a response to this energy. It's always important to track where certain events happen, where the astrological wheel is, because there's patterns and cycles. And when a planet goes back to a point where there has been an eclipse, it's like creates a divot, as it were, in the skies, and anything that gets into that divot then reactivates the karma around that. So Aries can be so volatile. Mars is the god of war. So there could be wars breaking out on this planet around this eclipse as well. Whether that's a war even within yourself, a war between people I see all the time when the moon is moving through Aries, when any planets are moving through Aries. Right now the sun's been moving through Aries. We've got Jupiter, Chiron moving through Aries. It can really stir up people with unresolved anger issues, and they can be exploding all over the place. So that can be one of the downsides of this event. One of the positives could be just inspired passion to initiate something powerful and new that's going to transform your life. So it's that kind of energy. So let me back up and talk about today, Sunday, the 16th. The moon is in Pisces. The moon represents our intuition, our inner world, our emotions, moving through Pisces. It's 2 fish. One fish is spiritual, psychic, getting downloads, and the other fish is swimming along in illusion, delusion, addiction, fuzzy thinking, wanting to check out, wanting to sleep. So as the moon moves through Pisces, we can have great spiritual experiences. It can be easier to meditate or get spiritual downloads or get insights, get psychic hits, feel directed spiritually, psychically. We can also want to check out, want to sleep more, have addictions really get stirred up, come to a head. So there's 2 different ways you can take it. So the moon illuminates. So it'll be moving through Pisces Sunday and Monday. And then it'll move into Aries on Monday the 17th at 8:09 p.m. Moving through Aries on Tuesday till it culminates with this new moon at the very last degree of Aries for the solar eclipse. So the eclipse happens at 11:12 p.m. Austin, Texas time. The moon moves into Taurus at 11:29. So right after the eclipse, the moon is moving in, and then like 4 hours later, on the 20th at 3:13 a.m., the sun moves into Taurus. So one of the things that's interesting about this placement is that Aries is a cardinal sign. It initiates. The ruler of Aries, Mars, is in Cancer, also a cardinal sign. So let me pull in the Cancer issues, because you always look to where something's happening and then what the ruler of that sign is and where that planet is. So Mars, the ruler of Aries, the ruler of this eclipse, is in Cancer. So Mars in Cancer can be stirring up childhood stuff, issues from our childhood home, issues with mother. Cancer is the mother. And you know, Cancer's the crab, wants to stay in its shell, like don't bother me. The pinchers can come out. So people can be extra moody with Mars moving through Cancer, but there's this initiating energy, right? So with Mars, the ruler of the eclipse itself is in a cardinal sign, Aries. Cardinal means initiating, a sign that can get things started. Its ruling planet is in Cancer, a cardinal sign. So we can get things started even when it comes to our personal healing. Cancer is about healing yourself, healing your childhood wounds. Pluto moving into Aquarius, which is about the new, the innovative. So there's all these pieces of like newness, right? Transformation, growth, development going on this week. Today, also on Sunday, Vesta, which is at 0 degrees of Taurus, is in a square with Pluto. I see Vesta. She was the goddess, the virgin who guarded the sacred flame in Rome. I see Vesta, which is an asteroid, as where in your birth chart, it's where you've sacrificed yourself, what kind of issues, sacrificed yourself for others. And so to me, this square is an end to self-sacrificing. Now, service, being of service to others, is different than sacrificing yourself for others. Being of service, you feel called to help someone, great, awesome energy, great karma to be helping other people. When you're sacrificing yourself in some way, when you're taking a hit in whatever way, personally, professionally, in your life, because you're putting someone else's needs before you, you're sacrificing your own life, you can pull yourself completely out of rhythm. Now, a parent is going to often sacrifice their needs for the needs of a child, right? That's something that you can't quite step around. But as adults and dealing with other adults in the world, there's not a need to sacrifice yourself. So this, on Sunday, you could really just see, I'm done with this. I'm not going to do this anymore. You could just find that those issues come up. All right. Monday, the 17th, like I said, the moon will be moving from Pisces. So pay attention to dreams too. Dreams can be extra vivid as the moon moves through Pisces. And the moon will cross over Neptune before it goes into Aries on Monday. So it crosses over Neptune at 1:56 p.m. So these are the two most psychic planets, Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, and the moon. When they get together, things can be extra charged psychically, spiritually. So Monday can be an extra vivid psychic spiritual day. Great day, again, to meditate. It's a great day to get your downloads about what to set your intentions for this new moon solar eclipse. Then at 8:09 p.m., the moon moves into Aries. And then the moon will be crossing over Chiron on Tuesday. It'll be in a sextile with Pluto when it first crosses on Monday. So that's a positive connection. So transformation will be in the air with that connection. As it crosses over Chiron has been working on this mid-decan of Aries. And so we can be healing the wounds we've had around other people, whether what other people have thought about you or what you think they think of you, or whether or not people have been there for you or not. Chiron is the wounded healer, and it can trigger us and stir things up for us so that we can bring it to the light and heal it, right? So in Aries, it's healing our sense of self in many different ways. So as the moon crosses over that, it illuminates that. So you could get some insights into areas that you're working on healing, or that's areas to show you where you've already healed something. And bravo, look at that. I've healed this, or I can tell I've progressed here. You can also be illuminated areas that you can still have an ouch, where there still needs to be healing. So then on Wednesday, like I said, we have this powerful solar eclipse. Then the moon moves into Taurus, and then the sun will move into Taurus or just after that, and will be squaring Pluto. So Pluto is just minutes off this square for exactitude, off this, in a square off the eclipse by minutes. So it's in effect transform, like eclipses by themselves are like on steroids. We can just transform our life in major ways, speed up the time things happen, bring people into our life, people exit our lives, especially with the planet that represents death and transformation pulled into the eclipse, and Jupiter, which brings good luck and makes things bigger in the mix. This is going to be so powerful and so potent. And like I said, you may just be feeling this days, weeks, months to come. So just be clear about where you want to set your intentions. Plant those new seeds. Have some meditation time going on over these next few days where you get clear about what it is that you want to totally transform in your life, what you want to release and let go of as well. So Aries can be, rebellious, defiant. It can be a big old bonfire, right? So there can be all this volatile energy flowing around too. So if people are extra pissy or moody or whatever, just know everybody's being activated by this eclipse. Now, if you have planets or points in the last few degrees of Aries or the first few degrees of Taurus, you're going to be feeling this eclipse more personally. So one of the cool things that I see as the moon and the sun moving from Aries, the initiator, where you get the insight, you get the inspiration, and then moving into Taurus, which is a fixed earth signs, which can help you manifest it, make it happen. Let's do the work. Let's roll up our sleeves. Now what do we got to do, right? We get inspired ideas with Aries. We can initiate, get things started. Then Taurus can actually follow through. So I think that can be a benefit of it being right there on the edge of this last degree of Aries and then moving right, the sun and moon within hours, moving into Taurus, like taking these intentions. And now how are we going to manifest this? How are we going to make this happen? So that feels very powerful to me. Again, the sun enters Taurus at 3:13 a.m. on Thursday the 20th, kicking off a new 30-day transit through this sign. And I talked a little bit about that when I was talking about the North Node, about valuing ourselves, about our valuables, about love and relationships, about money and finances, taking care of our physical body. All these themes will be highlighted as the sun moves through Taurus over the next 30 days. The sun will have a square to Pluto on Thursday the 20th. It's exact at 11:27 a.m. A square is a contentious relationship. So it's going to be already in effect with the eclipse. It tightens up exact on the next day, Thursday. So this can be like a come to Jesus and like, nope, can't do this anymore. Nope, done with that. Truths being revealed, secrets coming out, both in your personal life, in the world around you. This can be like an illuminating week for people's secrets to be hitting the light with this. People coming into your life, people exiting your life. Like this is like the theme, like changing doors, changing of the guards can be happening. And just this whole rest of this year. So the people that are supposed to be coming into your life, coming in, stepping up. The people that are not supposed to be in your life, stepping away, exiting. That can really be happening in a lot of different ways. Then on Friday the 21st at 3:34 a.m., we have Mercury stationing retrograde. Oh yes, we have a Mercury retrograde this week, as well as an eclipse squaring Pluto. Like, whoa. This eclipse will be in Taurus. Mercury is going to be at 15 degrees and 37 minutes. It'll go back to 5 degrees. It turns direct again on Mother's Day in May 14th, I believe. So we usually have 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde. It's already been in its shadow, so it's already been showing you a preview of coming attractions. Mercury retrograde. Mercury rules our thinking and our communications with others. It also rules our technology like computers and phones, transportation, our cars. So it's classic for all these things to get glitched up. Our communication with others. Did you get that text I sent? No, I didn't. I didn't get that email. I didn't get that letter you put in the mail. I misunderstood what you said. Like fights and miscommunication can happen in all forms. Computers can be glitchy. Phones can be glitchy. Your car can be glitchy or people can have accidents. Be careful moving through space. The good thing about Taurus is it is a slower energy, so it can be easier to slow. And then the rewords come into play with Mercury retrograde. Review, rethink, redo, you renew even. And again, going back over these things that are Taurus value. Review how you're physically taking care of yourself, how you're handling your finances, your relationships. Mercury retrogrades are classic for people from your past to come back into your life, particularly in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, which is about relationships. So don't be surprised if you have exes come back into your life, or past life connections with people come back, or new people that you meet that you know you've been with before. These are all themes that could be happening with the Mercury retrograde. So you just need to give yourself extra time and space for communication, for travel, for working with your computer, all those things. It can really switch the frequency. Like if you're more intuitive, it can put you more logical, rational. If you're someone who's more logical, rational, it can put you more intuitive. That's one of the other benefits that can happen, is showing you the other side of your brain with Mercury retrograde. But it gets a bad rap. But I don't know. This one to me doesn't feel all that, I don't know. I just feel like it could be really beneficial, is kind of the feeling I'm getting with this Mercury retrograde, because it's in Taurus. But we may have to redo things, because Taurus is a doer, a manifester. So you're like, wait, and it can put a hold up on things. So anyway, that's going down. Mercury goes retrograde Friday the 21st at 3:34 a.m. So it goes retrograde in our sleep late Thursday night. Unless you're one of these night owls that are up at that hour, or that you have a job where you're working in the middle of the night. Then on Saturday, the 22nd at 5:10 a.m., the moon goes into Gemini. People can be extra chatty, extra communicative with the moon going through Gemini. And then on Sunday, the highlight I have is that Mars in Cancer is in a sextile with Mercury retrograde at 10:19 p.m. So that can give us extra information. Mars is how we take action, move energy, move through space. It can be our ego. So there can be an alignment, even though Mercury's retrograde, some insights into how and where we're supposed to be putting our energies can come with this sextile next Sunday. Let me just look at my notes and see if I skipped anything. Jupiter being in Aries, now it's at 22 degrees as I'm recording this. It'll be 23 degrees at the eclipse. Jupiter moves into Taurus May 16th, so it's got a couple more weeks of being in Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, and Jupiter takes 12 years to get around the whole zodiac. So we're starting a new 12-year cycle. It started at the end of December when Jupiter moved into Aries. Actually had moved in the fall and then went back into Pisces, but it came back into Aries to move through the entire sign at the very end of December. So we're in this sort of new 12-year period. So think about that in terms of your intentions with this solar eclipse new moon. It's like, what do you want to not just initiate for this next lunation cycle, which is what usually new moons are about. What do you want to create over this next lunation cycle? What do you want to create for the next 12 years for your life? Be thinking about that. So a bigger picture of what you want to manifest. I talked about Mars and Cancer, healing our inner child, healing, it can be about nurturing, mothering, issues with childhood, issues with being a mom or your mother could come up as Mars moves through Cancer. But there could be more intuitive growth because the moon rules Mars. The moon rules Cancer that Mars is moving through. So there's a lot of things pointing to psychic and spiritual development. Saturn being in Pisces, Neptune being in Pisces, Mars moving through Cancer that's ruled by the moon. So these are all super psychic, heightened spiritual psychic things. So it's really, I think a lot of people are going to be waking up to their own psychic abilities, be growing spiritually, taking up spiritual practices, diving deeper into spiritual practices that you do have, or adding to your spiritual practices. I think a lot of that's going to be going on. Saturn will be moving through Pisces for the next 3 years, so it's really focusing on that. Pisces can be about weather stuff too, so Saturn is about structure and boundaries and how we form things, and it can be like the ruling energy. And Pisces can be like weather events. It can be water events like extra rain or flooding, or things that are involving water in earth changes and major weather events. So that could be happening over the next few years with Saturn in Pisces. Neptune's going to be in Pisces until the end of March of 2025. Saturn is in Pisces till May of 2025. So in 2025, we'll have both of these planets changing signs. They'll be close together, going into Aries. They'll start new cycles for both of them. So we're ending cycles here over these next 2 years of, like, really, let's everybody get on board. Let's everybody get spiritual. Let's everybody get tuned in psychically. So these next 2 years, I think there's going to be a lot of psychic and spiritual growth for everyone. Uranus in Taurus has been shaking things up, literally the earth, waking us up. It will continue to be doing that for a few more years, shaking up relationships that aren't working. Pluto is also doing that. The dance between Pluto and Capricorn and Pluto and Aquarius, the power and control issues are reaching ahead. That old paradigm of the top-down power over that Capricorn represents, Pluto is tearing that down. So you're seeing these sort of like Custer's last stand of those kind of situations, people who are in those power places of the white man with the money particularly who was in power when this country was formed, but you see that all across the globe, the few with the power lording it over the many, whereas Aquarius is everyone vibing together. So when Pluto finally goes into Aquarius to stay in November of 24, it's going to be about the people is where the power is. We all are powerful together. We are all empowered and bringing our energies together. So that old school power over, top-down power is being knocked down like towers of Babel, and we will see them falling in government places, in businesses, in family systems, where that is being shown, and we're already seeing they're being tested, right? We're seeing it in our government playing out. So this next, between now and November of 2024, and it'll continue, the falls will be continuing. So like left and right businesses are going to be collapsing and falling that are built on that old paradigm. Governments will be collapsing and falling. Revolutions. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the American Revolution and the French Revolution happened. So get ready for a revolution, basically, is what I say. Let's see. Saturn will be squaring the North Node. It started that on April 14th. It'll be squaring the nodes until the 26th. So, is that right? No, not squaring, sextiling. Saturn is sextiling the North Node, trining the South Node. So it also, with Pluto squaring it, Saturn sextiling and trining it, it's activating these nodal energies. Again, new that we need to bring in, lessons we need to learn, things we need to clear out, karmic patterns we need to release. Those themes show up with the Saturn and with Pluto. So yeah, that's what I have for this week ahead. Set your intentions. Let me know. I'd love to hear some feedback about if you notice the eclipse showing up in some way or any of these things I've discussed, these powered Pluto showing up. Like I said, Pluto does not play. It will leave things transformed. So a transformative planet, and Jupiter brings in beautiful benefits and good luck. So it's nice to have Jupiter bringing in, but it also makes things bigger. So this eclipse is like the biggest, most powerful one I've seen in quite some time, maybe this whole decade, maybe in your lifetime, right? So, and especially, like I said, if you have planets or points in the last degrees of Aries or the first degrees of Taurus, you're going to be feeling this personally. We're all going to be feeling this, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it shows up. All right. Have a great week. Peace.